Welcome to the Thursday evening webinar series. My name is Rich Smith. I'm a filmmaker and a spiritual life coach, and I'm here with Reverend Marc LaPonce from the North Hollywood Church of Religious Science. Tonight, we're going to talk about affirmative prayer, spiritual mind treatment. I call it the secret prayer because not many people really know about it, and it's so powerful. Everybody should know about it, and that's why tonight I am going to talk about that. Basically, it's a 5-step process. We're going to go through all the 5 steps, and we're going to talk about each step individually and what it all means. Basically, I've been teaching spiritual principles for quite a while now. I've been a filmmaker, an independent filmmaker, and I use these spiritual principles in my own life to create successes, and I've had many successes using these principles. Prayer treatment is very powerful. As a matter of fact, later tonight, I'll show you guys a little video that I created where my wife and I had a demonstration. I'm going to talk about what a demonstration is. But let's first start with asking Reverend Marc exactly what is a prayer treatment or spiritual mind treatment?
Well, good evening, first of all. And yeah.
Actually, why don't you introduce yourself and talk a little bit about yourself too?
Oh, sure. So I'm Reverend Marc LaPonce, as Richard has let you know, and I'm the assistant minister at the North Hollywood Church of Religious Science in North Hollywood, California. I'm the assistant to Dr. Mark Vieira, and I absolutely relish my job. I first discovered religious science, and it's for those of you who are out there who have seen communities called Centers for Spiritual Living. We're one and the same. Was formerly, all the churches went by the name Religious Science, and our denomination as a whole goes by Centers for Spiritual Living. We just chose not to change our name. I guess we didn't want to change the sign outside the church. But when I first walked in to my first service, it was in Religious Science, and that was at the North Hollywood Church. I walked in and I heard a service where there were readings from the Bible, from Kabbalah in Judaism, from the Quran. The senior minister, Dr. Mark, quoted Jesus, Buddha, Einstein, and just was talking about different spiritual principles and how they reverberate through different teachings. And at the end, we always end with a spiritual mind treatment, which I'll talk about. And at the end of his prayer, Dr. Mark used the statement, "We bless our church. We bless all churches everywhere, synagogues, temples, mosques, ashrams, all paths to God." And I heard those words and the talk I just heard before that, and I knew I was home.
Yeah, that's great.
I loved that idea that there's so many ways that we go about trying to know God and what God is and who God is. And so that said, our philosophy, which is not unique to science of mind or religious science, it's actually to be found at the mystical level of all spiritual teachings, is this idea that there's an innate unity to all life, that everything is interconnected. We believe that God is not a being outside of ourselves, that God is the one power, one presence, one life, expressing itself throughout all creation. And so that we say that God's nature is at the center of everything and everyone. Not always fully expressed, but where we see situations in the world where God's nature isn't being expressed, for example, where there's conflict, where there's disease, where there's discord, that comes out of the fact that we are all left to discover our divine nature for ourselves. And on the pathway of discovery, which will be, an eternal journey before this lifetime and after this lifetime, that until we really recognize our oneness with the divine and oneness with all life, we will create and experience conditions that could be contrary to God's nature.
Which is one of wholeness.
Pardon?
Which is one of wholeness and
Yeah.
perfection.
Yes. And so we are very much about all our spiritual practices are there to help us realign and awaken to that sense of connection, that God lives in us, that God is infinitely greater than any one of us, but yet every aspect of its nature lives in us. It's like we're drops of water in the ocean that is God. Everything that is a quality of the ocean lies in the drop of the ocean, and each drop isn't the total ocean itself. But the more we discover that nature of God in us, the more we really, really sense its presence, not only in us, but in others, even if they're not showing up at their best, or we're not showing up at our best. There's a way that our changing our thinking to realize that presence is there opens us up to experiencing it and expressing it more.
Yeah.
So that's the whole purpose of spiritual mind treatment.
Actually, that was the whole purpose of my webinar tonight. Now we can all go because you said everything that I wanted to say.
So
that goes the treatment, the 5 steps, recognizing an infinite power and presence, working in and as and through us, allowing things to unfold in our life in perfect order. That's it. You did the whole thing. Yeah. Yeah. My wife just sent me a take the lozenge out of your mouth. I've had a cold and I'm lucky I'm even here doing this tonight. Anyways, it's either that or cough all night. But yeah, that's it. And that's exactly why I wanted to put this webinar together tonight, because that's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about this in a way that people can really get it, can really understand what this infinite power and presence is. Let's start with the first step. Okay, I go recognition, unification.
Back up a little bit. Sorry. Yeah. But just to explain that spiritual mind treatment is a form of prayer that is unique to religious science.
Yeah.
Ernest Holmes, the founder of our teaching, this is all based on, you may have seen the book, The Science of Mind. Yeah. Our whole teaching is based on the science of mind philosophy. Religious science is the teaching that grew out of the science of mind, the spiritual tradition that grew out of that philosophy. And so it's where we're used to thinking of prayer most of the time as a process of asking the divine for something, some greater good that we want to experience, putting it out there, God, please
do this or give me that.
Or let me have this. And I'm going to say right here, right now, we are not saying that any other form of prayer doesn't have value. I embrace all of them. There are times that I still pray that way.
Yeah.
Spiritual mind treatment is a 5-step process that helps us to shift our thinking to recognize that God is in everything, that we're part of God. And if that's true, then whatever human circumstance we're going through that we might want to change, or even if it's something good that we would like to see expanded or enhanced, that when we really recognize how everything, that God is at the center of everything, and that conditions in the world are temporary effects, and they can all be transformed into good or greater good, the more we can convince ourselves that that's true, then we open ourselves up to that experience. So rather than asking for a power outside of us to do something for us, we're saying that power actually lives within me and lives within all things. And when I recognize that God's nature is in me, that God's nature is all around me, and I really believe that, I open myself to creating the greater good that I'm seeking for myself. A lot of it is for those who are familiar with the New Testament, in the book of Mark, you have this idea that we should pray with the idea that it is already done. And when we really believe it,
Yeah.
then it will be the good that we are praying for will be ours.
That's when you really believe it. That's where the whole idea is go. Your faith has healed you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the Christ would say, pick up your pallet and walk. You know,
Right.
It was the faith. It's the belief system. It's the faith. And I think that for me, the spiritual mind treatment just puts me in that whole mode of belief and faith because I know that it's done. I know it's already done in the mind of the infinite.
Right.
And then it opens me up to allow it to flow through my life and it hasn't through me.
Nice.
So let's talk about the 5 steps.
Okay.
Am I correct? Recognition, unification, realization, thanksgiving, and release.
Yes.
Okay. We'll go through those 5 steps. The first one is recognizing. What are we recognizing? I think you already talked about it.
So, yes, and if you think about this, it's a very logical process to help our minds to change to realize the greater good. And you mentioned earlier that Jesus saying, pick up your pallet and walk. Well, we believe that beings like Jesus, Buddha, Krishna, these were all great masters. We talk about them as being models of Christ consciousness.
Yeah.
They felt their oneness with the divine. They saw that presence in us. They didn't need to do a 5-step spiritual mind treatment. They just walk through life with that consciousness. We're not that evolved, and so we need tools. So with a spiritual mind treatment, the first step when you say recognition is to recognize God is the one and only true power ever present throughout the universe, that there is one life, in the words of Ernest Holmes, one life, one power, one presence. And, that life is my life. So we go from saying, if God is everything, if I can recognize that there's a divine wholeness, lovingness, intelligence, infinite good that is present as an infinite potential in everything and everyone. If that's true, then I must be part of that.
Yeah.
Which is when we move into the second step, which is unification. So I recognize that God is in everything and everyone, therefore God lives within me.
Yeah. We are individualized aspects of the divine.
Right. So I am a unique expression of this one life that is God, and everything that I associate with God's nature is my true nature. At the core of my being, love, joy, peace, abundance, wholeness are always present as spiritual aspects of my nature. And if I'm praying for someone else, I will then say, and as that's true of me, I know it to be the truth about, for example, Richard.
Yeah.
I know that Richard is also a unique expression of God, that everything that I associate with God is Richard's true nature. So that would be my second step, the unification.
A unique, perfect expression of the divine.
Well, you're kidding. No. Yes, absolutely.
We are all unique, perfect expressions of the divine. Yes. And the only flaws that we have within us are the flaws that we bring into our own belief about ourselves.
Correct.
If you believe you're flawed, you're going to be flawed.
Right. If you believe you are lacking in any way, you are going to experience lack.
Exactly.
That doesn't always mean you're going to experience lack outwardly, but you're going to have an inner experience of lack. I think Howard Hughes is a great example of an individual who had so much material wealth, yet always lived in fear of it wasn't enough. And we hear that here's what we would consider, one of the wealthiest human beings, but that he had this fear. So he was experiencing lack. And very often we have it, what we would say, oh, I just feel like I'm so lacking in courage. I'm so lacking in my ability to open up and embrace others or whatever. It's a perception.
Yeah.
And sometimes it translates into an outer experience that looks very much like lack and
Yeah.
limitation. Other times we're experiencing it, and yet the physical evidence doesn't support
Yeah.
the feeling, but we're still experiencing lack. Our
Yeah.
belief, really, our perception drives everything in our life experience.
Yeah. I think the Buddha said, thoughts become things.
Yeah.
That, whatever you think of is what you're going to create. That's it.
Well, and Jesus, they just say, "As you have believed, so shall it be done unto you."
It is measured according to your belief.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So we have the recognizing there's an infinite power and presence. It's ever available to each and every one of us. It's working in and as and through us is the second step, the unification. We're one with that. What do you mean one with that? One with God? I mean, let's talk about that a little more, because this is an important aspect of it.
Sure, absolutely.
I grew up a Catholic, and I was always praying to something outside of me to do something for me. And you know what? Like you said when we talked earlier, sometimes that kind of prayer works too.
Absolutely.
When I was drowning and I prayed, please let me live. And then all of a sudden, halfway through the pond, I stood up and there's a wall and I was up on my waist.
Yes.
It's like I'm petitioning God, please do this, please do that. Any prayer works. However, affirmative prayer, you're using spiritual laws, like the law of attraction, which are very powerful laws.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And so the unification part of that's really important for me. And so let's talk about that. We're one with God. What does that mean? One with God, one with the Creator, one with the divine, one with everything around us. If we're one with it, and it is everything.
Right. So I really like the example I used earlier of think of the drop of water in the ocean. That that drop is connected with the entire ocean. It's part of that, and the nature of the ocean, the saltiness, the liquidness, the everything is the nature of the drop. So it's like, and where does one drop end and the other begin? Everything is really interconnected, and everything is imbued with the same divine nature. But then we are left to discover it and thereby experience and express it in our own unique ways. So as you take water out of the ocean, there are all kinds of different things you can do with it. It can take on different forms. You can freeze it. You can do all kinds of things.
Yeah.
It never loses no part of it ever loses its core nature
Of what it is. Okay. So we can't lose our true nature of being an aspect, an individualized, unique individualized aspect of the divine.
Right.
That's who we are. And that's where the demonstration comes in. That's where, when you are thinking that whatever you are desiring to become or do or live or experience in your life, once you realize that you are connected to that thing that you want to experience, then you can just let go of the fear, doubt, and worry and allow it to just unfold through you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Correct? And this, for me, this is what a treatment does. It really allows me to connect with that unlimited power and presence that's within me, as me, and through me, and to realize that I'm one with that infinite power and presence, that there's nothing, the only thing that's keeping me separate from it is my own belief system, my own consciousness. And so to get into that whole consciousness, recognizing there's an infinite power and presence, knowing that I'm one with that, and just being with that is very, very powerful. And that's the effectiveness of a treatment.
Sure. And there 3 more steps afterwards. But quite honestly, British folks said if we could really, really get even just step one, recognition, if we really recognize our oneness with God, that, saying I'm one with God or God lives in, through, and as me, if we felt that and knew it absolutely 100%, we wouldn't need to do anything more.
Yeah.
We're still, okay, we sense it to a degree. There's a point where we start to feel, okay, I do feel like I'm connected with something, that I do feel a presence in me that's bigger than whatever I might be experiencing right now.
Yeah.
And so I am allowing myself to feel connected to it, that it is the core essence of who I really am. From there, I can go into my realization step.
Okay. That's the third step, the realization, recognition, unification, realization. And then what happens when you get into the realization step?
So this is the part that people can sometimes, struggle with when they're learning this technique. Because this is where, for example, you were saying that you have been experiencing the earthly human condition of a cold.
Mm.
In a spiritual mind treatment, this is where I'm going to talk about how you are an expression of perfect health, that there is this pattern of absolute perfection and wholeness that is the truth of who and what you are. It lies in every cell, every tissue, every part of your body, that it vibrates as radiant health. You are a perfect, healthy expression of that one health that is God's health, that is God's wholeness, that is present everywhere in this universe. Now, people are saying,
Those just cleared up.
well,
it did. I did. My roommate had a headache, and he wanted some Excedrin. I didn't have any. I said, "I'll do a treatment." He goes, "What's that?" I go, "Sit down." Get up, and he didn't have a headache. So it's like, yeah, it really works. I feel like I can breathe again.
But people will hear that and they'll go, "Well, how can I? I'm struggling with this. I can't make my rent payment tomorrow." And you're saying that I am absolutely abundant, and that my financial and all my needs are abundantly met because I'm one with the source of all good that always gives unto all creation. But what we're talking about here is what is spiritually true about you right now, whatever your human experience may be. Like we said, you could take that, parts of the ocean and shape them into different things and do different things with them, but the core never leaves.
Yeah.
Okay. And when we do that, whether it's that we are praying for a greater experience of physical health, or finances, or greater loving relationships, or something in our careers, which would be that the creative urge in us to fulfill itself through a career is being we are always speaking in the present tense, because again we are using this affirmative prayer process, this tool, to shift our belief from looking out there in the world, from the condition we're facing, and to remember the innate spiritual perfection. As we do that, as we believe differently, as we change our thinking, which is one of our famous quotes from Science of Mind, is change your thinking, change your life.
Yeah.
As we change our thinking to sense that greater pattern of health, that wholeness, that sense of oneness with, that vibration of prosperity and abundance, the human conditions in our lives change. And
exactly.
This is a very, very important part of the spiritual mind treatment in shifting our consciousness. And one of the very important components that Ernest Holmes reminded us over and over again is it's not about the words. It really isn't about the words that you're saying. It's move into the feeling of it. So don't just sit there going in, I'm an expression of perfect health. It's like, no, I am an expression of perfect health. Like,
You know it.
what you're physically feeling right now, part of you can turn inward and know what it feels like to just feel healthy and vibrant and vital,
Yeah.
because spiritual essence is still there.
Yeah.
And the more you align with it, the more you give it room to come forth into to manifest itself in your human experience.
And through a spiritual mind treatment, I like what you were saying about the presence, because if you're looking at the past got you to where you are now with the thing that you really want that you don't have, and you're going to be in that vibration. You're going to focus on that. If you're thinking of the future, you're thinking about what you don't have and what you want, then the only way that I think a spiritual mind treatment really works is when you're in the present moment, knowing that you are one with the infinite power and presence in the universe, that you're unified with it, and that it's already doing in your life the thing that you would desire to create. Perfect wholeness. Like when you did that treatment, it really, I felt it, man. All of a sudden I could breathe again and stuff. I feel good. And so that's what it's about. It's about the present moment, accepting the divine expression in the present moment.
Right.
I like that.
Right. Yeah. It's
So what else about realization?
when you're most of the time, if you're spending time with a religious science practitioner or a minister that's praying for you, in the spiritual mind treatment, we will spend a good portion of the time in that realization step. It's about knowing the spiritual truth about a human condition. So, and as I said earlier, it may not be something negative. It may be that you come to me and say, Reverend Mark, my career is taking off. It just feels so exciting. I love it. I just want to know that I'm going to keep moving forward. Maybe I've had a pattern in the past of sabotaging myself. I just really want to know that the good I'm experiencing now is just going to keep moving forward, expanding. So we might do a treatment for you to really accept that in your consciousness.
Yeah. And that brings up another thing about the realization, the step, recognition, unification, realization, is that it is so much easier. It is for me, I'm just talking about myself, that to have a practitioner do a treatment for me is easier than to try to do it for myself when I'm in the midst of the thing that I want to change. It's like when the bills are coming in and you can't pay the bills, to be in a consciousness of abundance and prosperity, knowing that the universe is, what's the saying you say, hon? The universe is filled. Is she listening? Anyway, there's this great saying, and it's about the universe just being abundant and filled with wealth. And so for me, when the bills are coming in, and to affirm that I am abundant and prosperous is really challenging. But when you have a practitioner treat for you, it can be very, very effective. Why is that? Explain that.
Well, I think you stated it really well, that when we're in the middle of something, it's easier to be hypnotized by the human condition. And trust me, one of the first things we learn, as practitioners and ministers, is don't go thinking just because you've done this training and now you are able, you've spent a lot of time developing your consciousness to be able to sit with others and know the spiritual truth for them, that you don't need someone to be doing that for you. I have very regular sessions with my practitioner because my ego-based thoughts, my fears come up. And as much as I do my own inner work on my consciousness, I do my own treatments, my prayers, my meditation, all my spiritual practices, there is, like you say, someone else that isn't emotionally invested in the situation, that isn't as mesmerized by it, will have an easier time knowing the truth. And here's why that works, is because we are all interconnected. It is all one mind, one life. And so as I am knowing the spiritual truth for you, if you are having trouble knowing it for yourself, there's something, because we're interconnected, that responds to that.
Exactly.
I love that the new science of quantum physics, by the way, is proving this.
Yeah. Yeah.
That
Yeah.
show that mind is not local. They've done things like splitting a photon into two, separate parts where each one is spinning and separating the two parts by a mile, and then collapsing. One stops and the other one instantly, collapses at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's thought, what I'm thinking, you're interconnected. It's why sometimes you'll be in an area where you'll pick up on other people's vibes or something. If there's a collective thinking in an area, a lot of fear. I'm sure a lot of us have felt some unsettled feelings here in the LA area with so many people that have, gone through great tragedies, right? So close to us. We're not necessarily there, but we can still feel
Sure.
vibration. And so as I know a truth for you, you can respond to that.
Yes. And I don't even have to know that you are knowing the truth for me, because I was in this group. We're having like, it was for my health and stuff. It was a diet program I was on. And we had this group session where I'd sit together and talk. And one guy was saying he was thinking about his mom was going in to have something in her checked to see if it's cancerous and all that stuff. And I didn't even say anything to him. We were going out and I said, I did a little treatment to myself. For me, treatments, like you say, you don't have to say any words. For me, I don't even have to say anything. If I can just get in the vibration in my consciousness, then it's very effective, because I'm not good with words. I'm not a wordy person. And so we were leaving and I said, your mom's going to be okay. And he came back the next week and they went for the test and they couldn't find the thing that was in her.
Yeah.
And, so it's like they don't even have to know
Right.
that you're doing anything for them. And that happens all the time for me. It's like, it's just like, I don't even have to do it as a treatment in my head. It's kind of like somebody has a need for something and I just go right to I go right to the recognition of the unification with the divine, that they are the divine. I just have to look at them like they already have what they want. And then something happens that the next time I talk to them, they're like, oh yeah, this happened. And it's like very,
Right.
very strange stuff.
No, it's amazing.
But it's not strange when you know how it all works.
And not when you understand that everything is interconnected.
Interconnected, exactly.
Yeah.
I have a, getting back to my infinite filmmaker thing, I have a metaphor that I use, that the God, the infinite filmmaker, is creating this movie called life, your movie called life. And we're individualized expressions of the divine. In other words, that our movie is be creating in and as and through us, but we're also co-creators of our movie called life, sure. Right? And so, I forgot what I was going to say. It was good. It was good, but I forgot exactly where I was going with that. And I wasn't just doing a pitch for my infinite filmmaker thing, because it was really something good that I was going to talk about. Anyways,
it's something about interconnected, being interconnected.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll think of it. It'll come up, I'm sure. Anyway, so that's the realization step. Yes. The fourth step is Thanksgiving.
Correct. So again, this goes to the idea of we are convincing ourselves of the truth of what's spiritually true, and we're accepting it as being the truth right here, right now, not a week from today, not right here, right now. I'm connecting to the spiritual realm where I know that I am perfect, whole, complete, fulfilled, experiencing, expressing love. Now, when from that idea of pray as if that which you are praying for has already been given to you, what do
So
we do
then,
when we are grateful?
grateful,
When the
exactly.
good that we are seeking to experience more fully comes to us, we're grateful. So again, it's a step of giving thanks. I'm so thankful for this truth of my health and wholeness. I'm so
Yeah.
grateful for this truth of Richard's health and wholeness.
And
I'm
that's,
grateful to know this truth for him. It's one more step to help me to accept the spiritual truth that I'm speaking as opposed to what's going on humanly.
and if you get to the realization step and you realize that it's already done in the mind of the infinite, therefore it's done in me, you got no other choice but to be grateful and then the gratefulness, the gratitude, expressing it is showing faith. It's
Yes.
showing the belief
Yes.
that, yeah,
Yes.
I believe that it's already done in the mind of the infinite, so I'm grateful. And
Right.
that, just saying, I am so grateful for this, is very powerful when you feel it. I feel grateful because it's already done. Then, when that happens, the next step happens, which is
Release.
release, which
Yes.
is
So
the
the
next step.
idea is that we are releasing this into the action of the law of cause and effect. As I know this truth, I know that there's a law of cause and effect that's responding to me knowing this truth, that is bringing it forth. There's an intelligence that's so much greater than what I can imagine that's responding to it. And I'm just letting go, knowing that that intelligence that lies within me, but that's infinitely greater than me, is doing the work. And so it's not really, it goes back to the idea that any of the great mystics, and certainly we hear in Jesus, it is not I, but the Father within that doeth the work, that we're trusting that as we've spoken the word, something has happened, and it's not about us humanly making anything happen. We've worked with the divine, and it is bringing forth the greater good.
Yeah. So Thanksgiving, and then we release,
We just talked about that. We're just letting go.
releasing this,
It's
releasing the
another step
words.
in faith. It's another step in faith that, okay, I feel like I have spoken the truth. I felt the truth. I know it already exists as such in the mind of God. I've given thanks, and now I can let go. It's happening.
Let go. You're releasing. Yeah. Yeah. I release this word to the universe, knowing that it's coming back to me fulfilled by the law and not void by the law. So what Ernest Holmes teaches us is that every time you think a thought or you speak a word, you're creating a law unto the thing
But you're
that you're
not
speaking
creating
about.
the law. The law is just there.
The law's already there, right?
The
Right.
law, you're working with the law. So that sounds very like, what are you talking about? But
What is
just
the law?
the the it's that creative presence that responds to our thoughts. So think something that's really happy. Think a
Yeah.
very happy thought, and all kinds of physiological responses occur in your body, your
Yeah.
emotional state response to that. Now, whether or not the happy thought is happening or not, it's still creating an experience of happiness.
Sure.
Think a fear-based thought, and people think that when we say your thoughts create your reality, and yes, predominant thoughts, if you keep thinking negatively over and over again, some of the things that you think about, that you worry about, will come forth. But I I try to remind people it's not so literal. Some of us have horrible thoughts, worst case scenarios that never manifest as that exact thought. But as we were thinking, like, how many people fear losing their job and one day being homeless, and that keeps running through their mind. That may never happen, but for all the time you spent thinking about it, you felt angst, you felt a lot of anxiety. So you were, just through that negative thought, creating a negative experience for yourself.
Right.
And think it enough, and you can actually create the outer experience you were thinking about. Thankfully, it works the other way too.
Yeah.
Think something really positive, and that's what moves you into manifesting that positive experience.
In the Bible, it says, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word is God. Mm-hmm. And so to me, that's the whole idea of a prayer treatment, is you're speaking the word unto the thing that you would like to experience. And then through the law, that thing becomes form in your life. Well, what is the expression that mind is form in action? Is that the Ernest Holmes saying? Form is mind in action.
That's which it is. It's the result of mind.
Yeah. Now we can get really deep into this. I was giving you guys, what was the camera? I was giving you guys a little simple explanation. This gets really deep, and it takes years to really practice and understand this stuff, to really understand it and know it. And that because if you know, Matthew's coming in on the room to talk with us, because what I explain is that I go really deep with my metaphysics in talking about this with my infinite filmmaker stuff. And, there's one mind. That mind is the mind of God, and that mind is my mind. So the way I look at it is that our mind is an individualized aspect of that one mind. So when we think a thought, we're thinking a thought into that one mind, universal mind with a capital M, and that mind creates out of that using its unlimited power and presence. Mm-hmm. So to me, that's why when you think a thought, you got to really be careful of what you're thinking about, because to me, that's how it becomes manifest, is because your mind is one with infinite mind. Am I off base here?
No, absolutely. Well said. And that's why, along with practices like spiritual mind treatment, where we're directing our thought to create a greater experience, we're also promoting practices like meditation, where you're getting still and you're watching. In meditation, one of the great gifts is that you just sit and observe, and you see what's going on in your mind. There may be thought patterns that you wouldn't be aware of, that when you get still, which is why a lot of people don't like to do it. Yeah. You have to get still and be with yourself.
Yeah.
But you can notice that, wow, I spent a lot of time worrying about blah, blah, blah. Maybe that's my opportunity to build my consciousness, to have more faith, to have a greater sense of that, God is there in this experience to, there's some good that I can experience out of it. So. Yeah,
exactly. Hi, Matthew.
Hi, Matthew.
Hey guys, how you doing?
This is my friend Matthew. Matthew was going to Agape, and that's how he first got introduced to a lot of this science of mind information.
My ministerial training, by the way.
What?
That's where I did my ministerial training at the time that I was studying to be a minister. Or the campus was at Agape.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I took some classes there and stuff. It's good. I've taken classes with you too, which was amazing. Really awesome. Matthew, what's up?
Oh, I don't know. Same old stuff.
Yeah? How's the acting going?
Oh, pretty good. I'm taking this class right now. It's really good. I'm learning a lot of stuff. So just keep moving forward.
Yeah. What's the next step for you? We got Reverend Marc here, which he's very, very powerful, a minister. And, maybe we can talk about something that you'd like to, where you're at with your acting. I know just briefly, Matthew wanted to start acting, and, we've been doing some, Thursday evening things and talking about it and stuff. And he's taking classes, and now he's, how's the Harley Davidson going? Hey, let's manifest a Harley Davidson for Matthew.
Well, I still got to pass the written test. Once I do that, yeah, because I already passed the driver part of it by taking a safety class. Their test is harder, so I passed that. That means I don't have to take the driver test at the DMV. So now I just got to pass the written test, and then I can get my license. So I'll probably do that probably within the next couple of weeks.
That's great. Matthew is taking acting classes, and his coach said, you know, you look like a biker. You could just try out for biker parts. So then he said, well, I better learn how to ride a bike. So we had a little demonstration with Matthew. We're talking about he wanted to move back to his old neighborhood. And so Kimmy, the law of attraction coach, and I were, you know, talking to him and saying, go back to the neighborhood, get a feeling for what it's all about, you know, be there, be in the, experience it, get the smells and the environment. And we went there and had coffee once, and it was great because he was excited about it. And that's what you got to do. You got to get in the vibration of being back there. So, so one day he went back there for something, I don't know. And on the way back, he had a unbelievable demonstration where he noticed that Harley Davidson was giving motorcycle lessons.
Wow.
And he jumped right on it. He didn't say, oh, I can't afford it. Oh, I can't do this. Or I'll never do it. He just jumped on it. So the universe, I believe that the universe was throwing a message at him. It's like, it's plain as day, right, Matthew? That you looked over and
passed right by it. I was like, I don't know why I went that way. I never go that way, but I did. And just as I was passing it, I saw somebody, you know, the parking lot was full, but I could see this one car backing out, and I'm like, but I already passed the driveway. I'm like, oh, it's just not the right time, but at least it was in my head. It's like, I got to do this. So probably within a couple more weeks after that, I was already taking lessons. So.
Nice.
Yeah. You know, that's the way it works. It never comes the way you really want it to come. You know, it's like he's going in the neighborhood thinking he wants to move back there. And then all of a sudden, the next thing you know, he's driving, you know, taking lessons for Harley Davidson, which is something that we were working on. It's like, oh, yeah, you know, him and I went and shot a little short movie in my car doing Lyft. He was the passenger and I was coaching him in the car. And you know, these little steps are like will build into something bigger, into the vision. Speaking of that demonstration, I got a video I want to show. It's only 3 minutes. What do we got? A couple of minutes left. Let me show this video because I'm talking about how you never get, for me, I don't get what I expect to get. I get something better. Nice. It's always something bigger and grander than I could even expect and comes in ways that I never expected. I may have an intention and put it out there and do a prayer treatment, and then all of a sudden it shows up like for Matthew with his motorcycle, just in a different way, you know?
I spoke about that in my sermon last night that, you know, when we're praying to have the idea, let's say we have a very specific image of what we want to experience, but hold on to that because we have a vibrational, you know, it gets us into the vibration of the experience. But, you know, for us to also say this or something equal or greater.
Yeah, that's it.
Not look like what we imagine. It might be something, you know, and if our limited thinking is because we're saying it has to look a certain way and we're not seeing the 150 other ways it could show up right here, right now, if we could just see it, it helps open our consciousness to, it's going to be the exact thing I want to experience that I can feel in my heart I want to experience, but it might look differently from the way I'm imagining it.
So at the end of the treatment, you say, so at the end of the treatment, you say, this or something better shall come my way.
Sure.
Yeah. Let me show this little video. And then Matthew, stick on because I want you to we'll talk with Reverend Marc if he has a little more time about your next step, where you're going, and see if he can help you with that.
All right. Thank you very much.
Okay. Okay. You ready?
Go.
Okay. Hi, I had an amazing demonstration I wanted to share with you guys. And this is my wife, Jennifer Cunningham, the artist. And anyways, I lost my phone. I left it at Starbucks in the restroom. Somebody took it, and I noticed it was missing. And so I went online and I looked up Chase Bank to cancel my credit cards, and somebody had charged $133. at Walgreens down the street, and then they went to McDonald's and charged another $25. They must have had a nice little lunch. And so I went to Walgreens. I actually did a prayer treatment. I was really interested in connecting with my phone. And so I did a prayer treatment, recognizing that we're all one, that we're all interconnected, and that I am connected with the infinite, they are connected with the infinite, we're all connected together, and through that connection that I could get my phone back. So I went to Walgreens to see if I could figure out who was charging $133 on my phone. And as I'm at Walgreens, the manager was looking up on the videotape to find out who had charged $133. And then Jennifer happened to call me at that time.
I came out on the patio, and there were a whole bunch of people and a lot of commotion at the front door. And I said, you know, can I help you? And they said, well, we're looking for Richard Smith in 101. And I said, that's us. And out from inside the foyer came this young woman, and with the phone, and said, I have his phone, his credit cards, everything is there. And I found it at Starbucks, and here's his phone. And she gave me the phone.
It's
I
amazing.
was just amazed, and just
And
thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah,
I mean,
really
it's
grateful.
a miracle, really.
Anyways, Jennifer said she had a baseball cap on, and when the guy looked up the person, he said, yeah, there were two suspicious characters in here, and they're walking around buying stuff, and the woman had a baseball cap on. And so, you know, here's the thing about prayer treatments is that it works. It definitely works, and I experience this all the time in my life. And I'm just so thrilled about using this. I want to teach everybody and show everybody how to do it. And so anyways, on Thursday, November the 15th, I'm having Reverend Marc LaPonce come on and teach people about affirmative prayer, how it works, what it's all about, and how you can use it to create the life you desire to be living.
It was a miracle.
Yeah, it's not really a miracle. I mean, it just...
Right. Well, it works.
It just works, you know, and...
We still can't believe it.
Yeah, I know. What are the chances of? I mean, I was like praying. I was praying for my phone.
How'd she find
to
us?
come back, and then all of a sudden it comes back, but not the way I thought it would. I thought that I'd go and catch them on the video at Walmart and stuff like that. So here I am trying to take steps towards the vision that I wanted to get my phone back, and the woman just shows up.
So we'll see you on Thursday.
Yeah.
The
Okay.
15th?
The
November
15th.
15th.
Okay, thanks. Anyways, cut out. Yeah, it's so like, just like we were saying, it always happens in the least expected way, but always your good is coming in your door. Your good is always knocking on your door. You just have to open the door, and we're too busy thinking about what we don't have, rather than being in the vibration of knowing that we're working with an unlimited power and presence that's working in and as and through us to bring us our good. It's always knocking on our door, and that we, through the treatment, can open that door. We can realize our highest good in life and everything.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So Matthew, what's the next step? We got a few minutes here. Reverend Marc can help you out.
Well, I guess for me, next for me would be finishing this class. I think developing my skills and my talents, because I do have a natural talent, I'm told. So what I'm trying to do is, you can't just get on TV. Well, I guess you can, but they don't, I guess casting directors and they don't like it when you don't have any training. They're like, oh, what? This guy thinks he don't need training. He thinks he can just walk in and audition and get a part. So, and plus, when I'm doing this kind of work, I want to be good. I want to be the best I can be. So I want to develop the skill, the talent that I've got. And so this is the second time I've taken this class. It's a beginner class. I've taken a few other classes, but this one I really like. Once I finish the second time, I'll be eligible to take the advanced class, so I'll do that next. And I think there's another one after that, but it's invite only, so I better be good because I'd like to do that too. Then, get my headshots, get a reel. I found a company that'll make a reel for me. So, they'll write scenes for me and hire another actor to do the scenes with me, and then I can do that to make a reel, without having done any work, any paid work myself.
Matthew's very positive, and he's got this really spiritual sense of things. But the thing about spiritual mind treatments, it doesn't have to be done for a person that is feeling lack of limitation or in fear, doubt, or worry. And so can you do a spiritual mind treatment right now for Matthew as an actor and all other actors out there that have this desire to express themselves?
Absolutely.
In their art.
I'd be happy to.
Okay, and we'll end with that. This will be a spiritual mind treatment. And then I'm going to, while he's doing this, let me first put up Reverend Marc's information here. And you guys can get in touch with him at the North Hollywood Church of Religious Science. And let me get that up here. There you go. And if you guys want to click on that, that'll take you to the Church of Religious Science website. And that's how you can get in touch with Reverend Marc. So anyways, we're going to do a treatment for Matthew as an actor wanting to express himself in his full potential, and all other actors out there and creative beings in the entertainment business or creative beings in life. That's what we do. We all create. And so we'll just sit back and sit with that and let Reverend Marc do a little treatment for all of us that want to express ourselves.
Okay. Well, I just invite us in this moment to take a moment to just get still, to close our eyes, to turn within, and to feel that part of us that every moment just seeks to experience goodness, wholeness, well-being in every way possible. To experience it as love, to experience it as joy, as fulfillment, as peace, as abundance. Every word that I can throw out that has a feeling of good about it is something that we feel called to experience all the time. And that desire for experiencing good is something that is felt throughout creation, because that is the impulse of that one life, the life that I call God, that is forever propelling itself into creation, that its nature lives through and as all that is, and that it is forever seeking the experience of discovering, knowing, and being itself through and as all beings, all situations, that God is there at the center of everything and everyone, including me, including Matthew, including Richard, including all beings everywhere. And each and every moment, we are one with this one infinite creator, and it is forever creating through each of us. And so knowing this about all beings, but specifically about Matthew right now, I speak my word for Matthew, knowing that this impulse to follow this pathway of acting, that this is the impulse of the divine, this is love, finding a beautiful way to fulfill itself through him. And it is also an infinite creative intelligence that knows the perfect right ways to fulfill itself through him and as him. So anything that supports this divine idea for Matthew to step into this pathway of acting and being in that place where he is valued for the gifts that he is bringing, he is well compensated, so he is able to generously participate in life and take whatever material good that comes to him and just share it generously, feeling that impulse of God's love to share with others. I know that divine intelligence in him knows exactly what is needed and draws to him the perfect support, the perfect right opportunities, that he is moving into that perfect expression of becoming that actor that just fills his heart and just creates such fulfillment in his life. I know that this creative impulse is felt by all beings in the entertainment profession, in any profession in life, that we always have the opportunity to allow spirit to fulfill its nature of giving of itself unto itself. And so I know as we all align with that vibration of that givingness of spirit, that love of spirit, it dissolves any fears that may be standing in the way. It dissolves any false beliefs that prevent us from stepping into that experience. And I know all are being moved into that greater experience of feeling like, wow, I am on track. I am in my right place. I'm so loving, allowing God to express itself through me in this way. And so how grateful I am right now, feeling this greater good that is coming forth into Matthew's life, into the lives of all those who are answering the call and letting God's love move them into that greater fulfillment of self-expression. How grateful I am to know that they are all being moved into that greater experience of being in the perfect right place, doing that which their hearts love to do, being absolutely valued and well compensated and rewarded in so many ways for being there, because that is God's nature, to give and receive and just continue to do so over and over again. So in gratitude for this and so much more, I just release this word feeling. It is already done in the mind of God. It's already accomplished. And so I can rest in the knowingness. I can let go and let God, saying, and so it is.
And so it is.
So it is. Awesome. Thank you, Reverend Mark.
Thanks so much.
So, Matthew, powerful, huh?
Very
How you
much.
feel?
Oh, great.
Yeah.
My pleasure. It was really fun.
Thank you so much. Appreciate that.
Beautiful. Thank you. Okay. I guess we'll just end this. I want to thank Reverend Mark for being here and expressing such beauty and love. And thank Matthew for coming on and sharing his experiences with us, and everybody else who's online listening to this. I hope you got something out of it. Every Thursday evening at 8 p.m. My Instagram account is Infinite Filmmaker. If you look it up, you'll find it. Actually, you just Google Infinite Filmmaker and everything about me comes up. So I'm really blessed to be able to have a unique title that nobody else has thought of. So just Google Infinite Filmmaker and connect up with me, and come on every Thursday and learn about spiritual mind treatments and how to use how to connect with the infinite through the teachings of all the avatars. Ancient wisdom, new thought teachings. That's what I use. Anything else you want to add, Reverend Mark?
Been lots of fun, and look forward to seeing you at church.
Okay, yeah, on Sunday, North Hollywood, Church of Religious Science. Go to the website. Go there now. Okay, talk to you guys later. Thanks, Matthew.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Okay.
Thanks, Matthew. Nice meeting you.
You too. Thanks so much. Appreciate that. All
Yeah,
right.
that was
Bye-bye.
awesome. That was really cool. Thank you.
Thank you.